You'll make this rather snappy, won't you? I have some very heavy thinking to do before 10 o'clock.
All right, welcome into another Tuesday night edition of Greenie Sports Cards Live. I am one of your co-hosts, Jeremy Levine, broadcasting live to you on our multi-stream from the worldwide headquarters of Greenie Sports Cards, located in Twinsburg, Ohio, and a couple of points in between for our guests that will be joining us this evening and the related content that comes to you. As we do every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, we'll be with you live here until 8 p.m., and then that will be followed by our live auction hosted by Alex Schacht, as Alex does, Alex Schacht, call your shot, as Alex does every Tuesday and Thursday on eBay Live for about an hour and a half or so. The trading card auction will take place. He goes live at 9 p.m., so you can join the fun over there at eBay Live, where all the trading cards start out at $2 for the auction. And he's got all kinds of sports: basketball, baseball, football, wrestling, soccer, MMA sometimes, and then he's got some packs as well that you can get in on the action and have a lot of fun with that. And that show is driven, as this one is as well, by audience participation and interaction, which you can do. Let us know where you're watching in the comments section from your stream below. If you have a question for any of our guests, you can do that as well. Drop those in the comments. We can see that. We can add it to the show and get you involved and answer your questions with any number of our guests that we've had over the last about a year and a half now. As many of you know, we've been doing this, Greenie and I, every Tuesday night. We've been fortunate to welcome in hobby influencers and athletes and coaches and all kinds of interesting guests. So we continue to do that and try and do that for you every week. And tonight is no exception. Along with our hobby news, we'll have our resident expert, Joe Wysmierski from the Phoenix Card Shop. Joe will join us in a little bit to talk about some things in the hobby world and of course the events. We've got a couple of big ones coming up. The Great Lakes Collectors Convention will be in Independence, Ohio, coming up in about a week and a half, April 25th through 27th. And that will be the largest annual collectible show in Ohio. It's about a 50,000 square foot venue, hundreds of tables. At last check, there was about 220 tables committed thus far. And invariably in this world, as we know in the events world, the floodgates continue to open in the last week or so. So we expect many more tables will be added to that action. And of course, Greenie and I will talk a little bit about that, what you can expect at that show. And then about a month after that, the Mountain State Collectors Convention will take place in Charleston, West Virginia, and that's a very exciting enterprise as well that we'll touch on. So we'll talk a little bit about the shows. We'll talk about the Cleveland Crunch that hosted the Major League Indoor Soccer Professional finals this past weekend. That was an awesome experience down there. Didn't quite end the way we'd hoped it to for the hometown fans, but we'll talk about that a little bit. We got some great action to show you from that. And Greenie Sports Cards was a sponsor of that event. which we'll touch on as well. And we'll keep it rolling with Joe. And then we're very excited to welcome our guest in tonight from Card Sharks. That will be Colt Thompson will join us. Colt is and Card Sharks is a trusted name in the collecting industry. So we'll talk to Colt about his experiences, and I believe he's going to join Greenie at both shows, the Great Lakes Collectors Convention and the Mountain State Collectors Convention. So we'll learn all about Card Sharks a little bit later on tonight. So with that, let's go ahead and welcome in the man himself, Steve Greenberg, aka Greenie, the namesake of the show. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, Jeremy, thanks for having me.
Well, yeah, I had no choice. I pushed the button. Your name's on the show. You pay the bills. So
and really what pays the bills is the stuff we do, like the Great Lakes Collectors Convention. Less than 10 days from now, we'll commence again the Independence Field House in Independence, Ohio. Like you said, 50,000 square feet. It's cool, and the layout's cool. The stage that we build for the media and the athletes is again like no other that you see in this industry. So looking forward to that again.
So let's talk about that a little bit, Greenie. The show itself. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Bear with me here. We're trying to share the screen. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It will kick off at noon on Friday, I believe, for the VIP guests and early entrants.
That's right.
Get there. That'll continue till 7 p.m. And then Saturday the show goes from 10 to 5. And Sunday again 9 to 3. What can people expect when they walk in the door?
The unexpected, Jeremy. Right? I mean, and that's easy to say, right? The first thing is the hundreds of tables, right? And that's what people are coming from. They're coming to buy and sell. So they'll first notice that, and they'll see that it's not just tables; they're booths. So something that we've taken from some other shows and kind of intertwined with ours, with a little bit of booths and tables. So pretty interesting, 10 by 10 spaces. And then the stage, and that'll be at the back of the show. It does not, condense any of the traffic. So way in the back, and then the interactive area where we'll have the basketball goals up, and we'll have the soccer goals. And, we're going to have some of our college athletes there, hopefully, and they'll be, throwing passes with kids, or shooting baskets, kicking soccer balls with maybe some professional soccer players. So it's going to be a pretty neat event.
I'm pulling up the floor plan here real quick so we could take a quick look at that around the event. Talk a little bit while I do that. There's food available, concierge service. You do a little bit something different than other shows. What does that mean from a vendor perspective and attendee perspective?
Yeah, right. So a lot of shows, the vendors are like, man, I got to go stand in line and wait, 20 minutes for a hot dog. Here our vendors provide a concierge service. Well, you'll be able to either text your order in, or they'll walk around and take your order. And then Sig's Coffee will be there in the morning with some pastries. But the two food trucks that we have, off the griddle, she's terrific. And you had her at Noah's graduation party, and my friend Sean had them at their graduation. And actually, they were set up inside the IX Center during the National last year. So a lot of people will be familiar with them. And then Scott's Fire and Ice Stone Pizza. So plenty to choose from, and they're happy to walk around, take orders, so that you don't have to just waste time standing in line like we do for everything in our lives.
Very cool. And let's talk about the stage a little bit. Card show live stage that is in the kind of the front or back center of the show as a focal point. 3 days full of action and content. What goes on there?
Well, it's cool because a lot of our media members, whether it's the local TV, print, or radio, they're all on normally at the same times during the day. And they don't really get to interact with each other. I mean, you don't see a guy from Channel 5 on the Channel 3 newscast, or, ABC, NBC. But at our show, they'll be able to hang out and interact with each other, and they'll be on the stage kind of not so much interviewing each other, but having a roundtable discussion of, local and national sports. I mean, the NFL draft is that weekend, so there'll be a lot of content with that. The NBA playoffs will be into their first weekend, so there's no shortage of things for them to discuss. And, while some of them, are definitely local to us, they have national shows as well on the weekends. So it is a national show with the types of vendors that we have, and also with the type of media coverage that we have.
Yeah, exceptional media coverage. I know Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan will be out on Sunday broadcasting. Our friend and Greenie endorser Daryl Ryder will be out there broadcasting that show in particular, and ESPN Cleveland's involved, and Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and you've got lots of other entities, members from Big Play, and very cool stuff. Plus the hobby influencers, Army. Alex Tressler from our Army ATC 22 will be there as well, hosting events on the stage and presentations, and getting lots of content and people involved. So very, very cool stuff. As you said, you've got these large pavilions. Every one of these is a 10 by 10 space. You've got some bigger booths like Gibby's Collectibles and a number of other tables. So yeah, very, very cool stuff. So on the show floor, it's kind of like a museum itself, with all the stuff. And you've got vendors and participants from multiple states coming in. Huge event, huge content, lots of content. And yeah, the interactive area is cool too. Like you said, you got Pop a Shot, you got a chance to kick soccer balls around and play games. So it's a really vibrant show. It's not just your traditional kind of backroom hotel shows. These things started many, many years ago. And that's what we had hoped to set out to do originally when we wanted to create an event here in the region that was different than just your traditional card show.
Yeah, no question. And that's what it's become. That's what people look forward to. And next week, we'll start it Friday at noon.
Awesome. So that is Great Lakes. So that April 25th through 27th. And then quick turnaround into West Virginia for a new show, new launch this year. The Mountain State Collectors Convention, which will take place at the Charleston Convention Center. And that one, talk a little bit about how that show evolved, Greenie. That's a new adventure outside the state.
Yeah, it is. It evolved because we saw how well this one grew, and it's always fun to dream and think, man, if we could do something somewhere else. And we happened to know somebody down in Charleston, and got to talking that the Visitors Bureau was interested in bringing a show to the city. And we kind of just pulled the map up and we said, boy, look at all the cities that are not far, right? A 4-hour drive away. And then not to mention the airport is 5 minutes from the venue. And then we were able to talk to the baseball team in town and, set up a trade night for Saturday night. And really we just said, you know what, why not? We kind of Nick Gilbert it. Why not? Let's try it and let's see what happens. And it was a little more than that. I mean, we did some other in-depth research. We went down, we toured the facility and talked to people there, but ultimately decided that it was worth the gamble of trying, and came up with a plan. And the plan is not for 1 year; it's for several years. So we look forward to bringing this type of show to Charleston.
Very, very cool. So we will certainly get into more of that in the coming weeks once we get past Great Lakes and part and parcel to that. So if you are a collector, a sports talk enthusiast, a hobby enthusiast, anywhere within about a 5 or 6 state location, you're going to want to make sure you get to one of those shows in the next couple of weeks. And looking forward to talking to Colt here a little bit as well shortly, because he gets around. They do a number of shows around the country. So excited to kind of benchmark that and get his vibe on what's going around the country in the hobby space. So in other news, Greenie, this past weekend, the Cleveland Crunch, which is the professional indoor soccer team here in Cleveland, part of the MLIS, the Major League Indoor Soccer League, They were host to the league finals. So they were actually going to host this tournament, whether they made it or not, kind of like the NCAA tournament as a host site. So the Final Four were in Cleveland. The men played. There was a doubleheader Friday night, Saturday night. The women's final took place in Cleveland, and then Sunday was the final. And we had a chance to go to those games. The Crunch took on Chicago on Friday night. They advanced to the final where they took on Amarillo on Sunday. And we've got a little bit of a recap that Haley put together for us. We'll show that and then come back and talk a little bit on the backside of that.
Yeah, that was a fun weekend down in the Wolstein Center, wrapped around the Strongsville Vintage Sports Collectors Convention that we attended all weekend. So, real busy weekend here in Cleveland.
Yeah, it's all kind of a blur. We talked about Strongsville last week, and got to talk to Mikey Singer as a part of that, and got to see them out there, and Steve as well. And yeah, you spent all weekend on that concrete, and then over at the concrete of the Wolstein Center. The results didn't end the way we had hoped it would. The winning a championship in Cleveland in front of that crowd would have just been tremendous. That aside, we want to give thanks and appreciation to the Rashido family, owners of the Crunch, along with Ryan Ruiz, who's a part owner in that. They put together a tremendous event, and Commissioner Bernie Lilivoy from the MLIS was in town and a part of that. It really was a tremendous event. They had about 2,500 people attend the matches on Friday night, and then may have matched that and a little bit more on Sunday for the final. So to get almost 3,000 people to show up on a Sunday night for indoor soccer when you had the Guardians were playing in town, the Cavaliers were playing as well, wrapping up their season. It's a really cool sport, Greenie. We grew up watching the Cleveland Force here in town, and then the Crunch. Most of that time period, I was away at school down at the Ohio State University, but there's an affinity there, and I think they're really onto something with the sport and being able to grow it and hopefully play their home games at the Wolstein Center again next year.
Yeah, the venue's great. I mean, we spent a lot of time there for college basketball, but I mean, when you take the wooden floor out and you stick the soccer in there, the turf, I mean, it's a perfect venue. I mean, the seats are I mean, you can't miss it from anywhere in there, but great place, right downtown. There's a parking garage right next to the arena. It's really a good place, and hopefully the Crunch are able to call that home next year.
For sure.
And we can be out
Greenie
on the board.
Sports Cards was a sponsor. We had 2 dasher boards there right by the goal. You had great placement there, and Pretty cool, Greenie, to be down there, and it's I hadn't been to a soccer game on that scale, indoor game, in a long time. It was a lot of fun, and took my daughter out there with us on Sunday, and she had a blast. It's such a family friendly environment, and it's festive, it's raucous, it's high scoring, unlike the outdoor game. The Crunch in this case in the final, they led Amarillo the entire way. They were either tied or ahead the entire game. It goes to overtime, and they lost in OT in the championship. It was just another tough loss for the city of Cleveland in that regard. But all in all, a tremendous event, and I would encourage anybody else to get out to those games next year.
No question. Yep, we enjoyed it.
Speaking of that building too, Greenie, the Wolstein Center, we saw a lot of games, women's basketball and men's basketball for Cleveland State as supporters of that team, and these are wild days. The transfer portal is open. Cleveland State, which won a couple of games, the women in the WNIT this year, and the men had a tournament game as well. With the transfer portal and the men's head coach leaving, it's a strange position to be in. We've got a mid-major school here where the entire roster for the men's side left. Some of them to follow the previous head coach, others making the decision to leave, which is their right as a part of the way the system's set up. And then on the women's side, a number of players went into the portal, the entire front court. Two of the previous Horizon League players of the year in Destiny, Leo and Mickey Purdue, declared. I believe there are no more than 3 current players on the Cleveland State women's roster. It's a very strange space to be, Greenie. If you're a head coach, you have to feel for them. The student athletes themselves, you can't blame them. They're taking advantage of the system that under the current rules, if there's an opportunity to go get paid or improve your standing, go get it. So none of this falls on the players to a certain extent, to most of the extent. It's just very strange days. The confluence of the portal and the NIL space, Greenie. I don't have much commentary other than we're just watching this unfold.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting, I guess, might be one of the right words to use. You can't get that, whatever you call it. I don't know if you call it NIL money in the transfer portal, but you can't get that money if you don't go in the transfer portal. So I think they all just almost go in there just to see what they're worth. I mean, I didn't do the actual math, but the amount of kids that are in the portal may not equate to how many spaces are available on all the teams. So there will be instances where some of these student athletes come back to their schools. If they don't get money that they like, maybe they don't get any money at all. We do know 2 of the girls from Cleveland State. I don't know what they got. I mean, I don't have any information like that, but one signed with Missouri and the SEC, and the other went out to Arizona to play for the Wildcats. So, I mean, these aren't small schools that they're leaving for. I mean, they're not lateral movements. These are big time programs that they're going to play for, and
we do wish them the best.
Yeah,
they made a decision within their own personal interests, and you can't fault them for that.
No, we don't. We could spend
a
hours
lot
on
of time on this, and we probably will, but because it's a very sensitive and passionate subject for us. But we got a lot of hobby news to get to as well. Yeah. So I want to make sure that we go ahead and bring in Joe Wysmierski from Phoenix Card Shop, as he is our resident expert to talk about all things hobby news and let us know what's going on in the collectible world. Joe, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, gentlemen. First of all, Great Lakes show coming up this weekend, right? I'm jealous because I'm a father of 5, and I know that this card show has a reputation for being fun for all ages and for every family. So it's not a traditional show that you're just going and checking out tables. Like the guys had mentioned before, there are activities and things to keep people busy. So that's definitely something that people should be checking out, especially if you have a family with children. There's tons of things that they can do while you're checking out the different tables. And then whoever did the design logo for your Mountain State, dude, I'm loving that design logo. That design logo is really slick. So that's got to be exciting for you guys too coming up. So I know a shameless plug, but definitely as a father of
I'll
five,
take it.
check out the show for sure.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe. There's that logo you mentioned. I know a guy if you need graphic design work.
So this big news. Topps and Fanatics decided to move up their release calendar date of Topps Tribute Baseball 2025. Couple of changes too. This used to be a 6-box case. Now it is a 4-box case. It does have 3 autos and 3 memorabilia are the hits per box. It's 6 packs per box, 3 cards per pack. They are beautiful cards. They are an acetate card. Also, the big thing with this product is the memorabilia hits. They have MLB certified stamps on there. So you can actually plug in the little code on MLB.com and it'll tell you which game that memorabilia is from. So that's one of the big hits. And then you can see the dual autos there, Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. We're chasing this great rookie class already that's right out of the gate with Dylan Cruz, James Woods. James Wood, he has a home run today already. So, and then you have Hall of Famers. So you just saw George Brett, Derek Jeter, but it's just a beautiful product. But it will be hitting the shelves at a premium this year for sure.
Cool cards. I love it. I love typing in to see what the actual uniform or ball or bat, what happened. Did the guy go 0 for 2 or did he go 3 for 4 with 2 home runs?
And again, it's another thing that gives you the ability to tell a story with the cards. So, it's something that you can constantly have the opportunity to build a talking point with as a collector or as someone who's looking to sell. It gives you an advantage if it is from a huge game. So it is a beautiful product that comes out every year. It's just coming out a little sooner than normal, but hey, that's good for the collectors. But again, it will be at a premium. Right now, prices are trending, starting at about $750 a box. So it is a beautiful product, but it does come at a premium for sure.
That's a breaker special. That's what that tells me.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on, we do have a football release from Panini. We have Phoenix football that does come out this week. Phoenix football will be from the 24 season. So you will have the quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Drake May, those Jaden Daniels. Those are the quarterbacks that will not have autographs in there. But Michael Penix and J.J. McCarthy will be the quarterbacks that do have autographs in this product. You also see Brian Thomas, rookie receiver who did phenomenal this past year. You'll be able to get Brock Bowers cards, but not his autograph in this product, as he's a Fanatics exclusive. But this is a great product that gives you a ton of different parallels. On the back, you can see the different types of parallels too. Fire Burst, Fire and Ice. Those are all just great chases in the product. It is a chrome card, and they're absolutely beautiful year after year. So it's a great product to look forward to, but it is going head-to-head with a debut product from Topps. We have Cosmic Chrome Football, which is coming out this week. That's a big deal, as you can see here, because the quarterbacks that are named, like Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Jaden Daniels, and Drake May, and then non-quarterbacks like Brock Bowers, they will have autographs in this product. This product typically does not have a guaranteed auto per box, but you are chasing parallels. And the other big thing that you're chasing in this product is called the Planetary Pursuit. So each planet in the solar system, as well as the sun, will have cards that you can get. The cards also have parallels that are numbered, but people are looking to do the solar system and collect the solar system. So I would say the Jaden Daniels Planetary Pursuit cards will be through the roof on release day. So this is a great product that does come to us this week.
I'm in. I like it.
There's the Planetary Pursuit. So this is always something that got super popular with baseball. And so now they are digging in with football and going all in. So this is great. I know we talked a little bit last week when Travis Hunter was exclusive, and now so is Shedeur Sanders coming up this fall for their NFL career. They will be Panini only in those products. So
it's so crazy.
It's wild.
Could have a whole show on that too.
Yeah, we're in wild times. So this is another great product for sure that is coming out. Again, action-packed week. We have National Treasures NASCAR Racing. National Treasures, the staple big hit products that Panini produces every year, where you're looking for memorabilia pieces, autographs. You're looking for, they have relics from the actual vehicle itself. They have tire relics. As you can see, they're dual autos, printing plates. It's a very high-end product for racing fans. It gives you the ability, but it comes at a reasonable cost too. So you are able to get into these boxes for under $500, which is pretty solid for National Treasures because that's a high ticket product. There you go. There's the logo patch too. Beautiful. And then the last product to talk about this week, and this is going to be one of the last Prism releases for English Premier League soccer. So come January, Topps will be taking over not only Champions League they'll have, but they will have English Premier League, where you get the likes of Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester City, all of the big name clubs that are over in England. You can see the black golds there. Prism is a staple of a chrome product, and every year this is one of the products where, and there's my guy right there. We have a Color Blast, which is one of the case hits that you have the ability to go after. But it's one of those products where you're going to prospect and you're looking for rookies. You're looking for numbered cards, silvers, and you're also looking for the parallels. So you're looking for color. You're looking for golds that are numbered to 10. Black finites, those are the 101s. So this is a product that every year is gorgeous, and it is the English Premier League. It is the top of the food chain for club soccer in Europe.
There it is. That's a busy week, Joe. And the other thing I saw today is that the WWE are now going to have little logo patches, during WrestleMania or something, the logo, like the rookie debut. But it won't be rookie debut. I think it'll just be like WrestleMania or something.
That is correct. So not only is it Holy Week, but it's also WrestleMania week, right? So huge week. People are super excited. It's 4 hours north of me up in Las Vegas. It is one of those things, and it honestly, I know Vegas has a stigma of being Sin City, but it is going to be a great hub for international fans to come in to not only infuse our economy, but also to go and check out WrestleMania, because it is a spectacle. I've had the opportunity to go to 2 WrestleManias in my life, and the people watching is probably the greatest of all time. Definitely up there. It's just fun. It's fun for everyone to go, and there's tons of events all throughout Vegas the entire week. And then it also has their live show on Friday, so it's going to have SmackDown. It has the WWE Hall of Fame. Then their third brand, which is NXT, they'll have their big show, Stand and Deliver, with 2 nights of WrestleMania and then Monday Night Raw on Monday. So I know the coverage alone for WrestleMania, they said over the 2 days will be over 18 hours, so 9 hours a day of coverage, which is intense. But again, I mean, if you want a big time spectacle, why not do it on a big stage in Las Vegas in front of the entire world? So it should be a fun week to debut those patches. Fanatics will have a pop-up shop there as well. So they're doing all sorts of meet and greets. So it'll be great for everyone.
All right, Joe, great stuff as always. We appreciate you joining us week over week here as our resident expert for Greenie Sports Cards Live. Let everybody know where they can find you at Phoenix Sports Cards. Card Shop, Phoenix Card Shop.
Yep. 59th Avenue in Thunderbird in Glendale, Arizona. And you can find us at PHX Sports Cards on Instagram. And then also check us out in our eBay store as well. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. Our thanks to Joe Wysmierski of Phoenix Card Shop out there going coast to coast. And Greenie, our next guest is no stranger to the hobby world and doing shows from Card Sharks. We're going to welcome in Colt Thompson, who is a longtime trusted name in the world of sports collecting. And they're known for their unwavering commitment and transparency and customer satisfaction. And we'll get to talk to Colt about where you can find them and what he's got going on these days. So with that, let's go ahead and welcome in Colt Thompson from Card Sharks.
Hey, Colt, how are you?
Hey guys, how are y'all?
Oh, we're doing.
Can you hear me?
We are we're gearing up for shows. We're reminiscing about shows and everything in between. So with that, we'll ask, what have you been up to at Card Sharks?
Same thing as you, just trying to get to shows, and it seems like now finding enough cards is a challenge. The hobby is doing well. I mean, there's shows everywhere, and a lot of them are packed, and the good shows are really packed.
So before we get into that, let's just go like a little bit of your history. How long have you been in cards, and kind of bring us through like your progression?
I've been in it since I was a kid, so I mean, I guess I'm closer to being in it 30 years than I am 20. But started out kind of doing flea markets, smaller stuff as the eBay emerged. Got on that train and started selling there, and that kind of opened up the access because West Virginia, not the biggest landmark for shows, which we're excited that you're going to be impacting that and bring a big show to West Virginia. But yeah, like I've always been a collector and kind of bought and sold to fund my collection. And then at some point, realized probably need to branch out, get out of the area, do some bigger shows, and just continue to grow the hobby.
Colden, in talking about those shows, you have a very, very busy calendar. We're looking at here. You were at the Chantilly show in Virginia, Roanoke. You'll be at the Great Lakes Collectors Convention in Independence. You're over at Washington and back over to Charleston, and then Indianapolis, New York. Number of shows. What can you tell us in traveling the country at these different shows? What is different about each location? Is it regionalized as far as what people are collecting these days? And what are some of the consistent themes that you're seeing and going show to show?
That's definitely a great question. I think every show is different, and there's some great things you see at shows, and then some things that you're like, well, that's a note for next time. Like you said, regional. I don't know that we focus on that as much as we probably should. I think at Greenie show, that's a great place to, like, right before the show, I'll try to pull some of my Indians, some of my Browns, stuff like that I know is going to sell there, that people are going to be looking for. And I probably should do that more going to other places, but I don't necessarily always do it. I think right now the thing you're seeing across shows is the hobby's booming, and I think you're seeing a lot of it being collectors and not just everybody jumping into flip like maybe when we saw with the boom around 2021, 2022. So that's been really nice. Chantilly, we've been doing that show a long time, and that was probably the biggest crowd I remember seeing there maybe ever. Like, there were a lot of people through on Friday, a lot of people there Saturday, And just a recurring theme is there's a lot of people. We did a few smaller shows, and I mean, you're seeing smaller shows with 1,500 people through the door for a 1 day show that's like 9 to 3. That's a good sign the hobby's doing well.
Yeah, there's no question that, and it's so funny. Like we dipped into Pokemon recently, and not the buying and selling, but a show. And man, there was over 1,000 people, and it's that people are coming out. Which, Jeremy and I talk about it all the time. You can do your online sales all the time, and you can do, the different apps, and you can sell on the marketplace. But really, nothing beats face-to-face transactions, and that's kind of the principles that this hobby's been founded on, and I really think that people are getting back to that.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's a big credit to your show, and the Cleveland show is the one I've been able to do the most. Like I'm jealous of your region. I see your monthly calendar, and I like those shows. Like you said, the face to face, and that kind of your Kirtland show, the trademark where everybody knows your name. That's a great selling point for a card show because, like you said, the face to face transactions. Those are the people. Somebody's got a favorite card dealer that I could buy this card anywhere on eBay, but I want to buy it. I want to buy it from Greenie. I've been looking for a Jordan rookie. I want to buy it from Greenie. It's going to be a memorable thing that stays in my collection forever. And I think you're the first independent show I went to when you hosted it. That room was a great mix of volume dealers that do other large shows, mid-tier dealers that probably don't do it full time, but have a lot of variety and turnover inventory pretty quick. And then a lot of weekend warriors that just like to rip packs and have old cards and have stuff they don't want. And they're just like, hey, I'm going to take this out and, get a table or, and just, sell a couple $1,000s worth of stuff and go buy some hobby boxes and do it again. And I think when you get all that mix in one room, it really makes a good environment for everybody coming to experience the show.
Following up on something Greenie just touched on with eBay, it is a new world where anybody can kind of go online and search for that elusive card and get it in the mail. But there still is something about, if you're a collector, going to that live environment, rifling through boxes, or finding a dealer that has it, and the magic of experiencing that. Colt, do you have a chase card that has eluded you to date, or a couple of pieces that you're chasing that one day you hope you find?
Yeah, absolutely. I still collect. The most recent thing I knocked off the list, I've actually got one of them sitting here. This is the second one I've got. I'd never owned one before, and I looked at it. Only comes up for sale maybe 3 or 4 times a year, and I was able to land one last year, and then this one popped up on eBay, and I was like, I don't mind this one as much either. So picked up the Bronco Nagurski National Chickle. But I've got a few other cards I'm looking for. Greenie mentioned Pokemon. Like, I've kind of branched out a little bit into non-sport stuff too. One of the cards on my list is the 1940 Superman card number 1. Never owned one of those. In like PSA 1 or 2, it's a couple $1,000 card, but probably missed the boat on the first ever Superman comic. Not a big comic book guy, but just the Superman card's really cool, and that's probably the next one I'm going to try to pick up on my list.
Yeah, things like that are cool. Superman's a Cleveland guy, so we like that. But I appreciate some of the things that you say about the shows that we do and some of the things that we do and put out. But I know that your boxes are really sought after, and especially at the National, when you say the reveal is, I don't know, Wednesday at 5:00, whatever time it is. I know that your booth is heavily lined up every year, and what goes into that? Is that stuff that you hoard for a year and you wait for the National?
A little bit, yeah. It's become a fine balance. So we did Whatnot pretty heavy last year, which made it harder to try to make sure we had both things covered. I mentioned earlier, one of the biggest challenges now is having enough cards. I mean, you look at the show schedule, on a national scale leading up to the National, and I think most national dealers, you want to stash a few things away, but it's hard to go to some of these shows and have something that you could sell it at that show. I've got some pretty good cards. I know if I bring them to your show, Greenie, I'm probably going to sell them and probably get what I want. And I'm sitting there thinking, do I want to leave this in a box until late July, or do I want to sell it and hope I find something else to have some other great inventory at the National? But like building boxes, I think give you some credit again. I think you're a master of that, finding really, really good $3 cards. Like there's, you'll do the Greenie Vault sale. And I know your quarter boxes, we've talked about this before. You could have a 50-cent box with 5,000 cards in it, and I'll pull 50 of them I'd buy for 50 cents. But if you told me I could have them for a quarter, I'd pull 2,000. So I think finding that inventory that people like and just appeals to everybody, it's an art form. But I think growing the hobby kind of has helped that a little bit. I think you've got so many people chasing like the mid-tier 90s basketball stuff, that a 95 top spark plug and Anthony Hardaway is a good card again. That's a card you can sell instantly for $10. There's somebody that sees that and is like, oh yeah, I remember that card. I want that. So yeah, building that inventory takes some time and process, but people really enjoy it, and we try to do it to be able to fit that niche at a big show like that.
Cole, you mentioned there's different levels of exhibitors. You've got your weekend warriors, you've got those are a little more serious that do shows, and then you've got people that do this full time as a business. What are your expectations when you go to these shows? What quantifies as a successful event for you?
That's a good question. It can go any number of ways. Like sometimes you have one where you don't sell as much as maybe you thought you would, but you have 3 great buys, or maybe you have a buyout that's not even like a huge dollar amount, but you're like, this is really good stuff. This is hard to find stuff, and I got a quantity of it. Sometimes you just find a really good card that walks up. We talk about all the time, like some of that good 90s, late 2000s stuff is hard to find, and somebody comes up and they've got 7 Johnny Unitas autographs, and you buy a deal like that, and it's not the highest value deal you buy all week, but you're like, I really like that. Where else would I have ever found that other than at this show? So sometimes it's great to sell a bunch, sometimes it's great to buy a bunch. I guess for me, to say it was a successful show, I like to have a little bit of both. You kind of turn over inventory, sold some stuff. A lot of times, really liquid stuff sells anywhere, but you sell like a few things that maybe you've had for a little while, and you just pick up. So when you go to the next show, or when you're back in that place again, your showcases look completely different. I think that's important. I think if you a lot of dealers at all kinds of shows, you can have weekend warriors that get caught in it and take their PC cards they're too attached to, or the people that are like, I can't sell it for that, I'll lose money, and they just drag the same cards around forever. And some people just like to show off their cards, and that's fine too. I like seeing cool cards, even though I can't buy them. But I think when you turn it over and you have new inventory all the time, that's probably a good measure for a successful show for me.
Yeah, that's you said that before. You just said it now. The turning over of cards, and it's becoming harder and harder to keep cards because of the amount of people that are coming in. And I'm kind of in the same boat as you. Like, do I want to keep these things till July, or till when I go to Ship Show, or whatever the case may be, because the buyers are coming to every single show, and that's a great thing. It's not a bad thing whatsoever. But being able to replenish quickly is becoming harder and harder.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think it's a good measure for the hobby. I mean, I think when things churn, it's a good measure of money, cards moving through, and people enjoying the whole process. I think repack, whether some people love it, some people hate it, I think it's contributes to a lot of what we mentioned of cards moving. Being able to replenish, and people will buy in and then sell stuff back and go buy some more. But yeah, good problem to have, I guess. But we do a lot of buying at the National. But it's just you get a good card and you're like, man, I'm really glad I picked that up. But you're going to sell it somewhere. If it's in the case and it's for sale, and it's priced even on the higher end of the market, but it's something rare and something somebody wants, it's probably going to be sold before it makes it to Chicago.
Is that Bronco Nagurski for sale?
It is not. The one I had, the other one in my collection, I took it to the National last year and did not put it in the showcase. Like I had it and I was going to put it out, and I was like, same thing. I was like, if I put it out and put a
That's right.
make me sell it number on it, somebody's going to walk up and make me sell it. I still kicked myself. I was looking at the Nagurski and I was thinking about it's probably been 2 or 3 years ago, and at Nashville, you had that Jim Thorpe cut auto PSA 10.
That is one card I was just going to tell you. I kind of regret selling.
I regret not buying it from you. I remember seeing it there, and I was like, I'm sure he's got to make me sell a price on it, but it's one of those that I was like, if I'm going to buy one of those, that's one I wish I would have bought.
Do you know who bought it?
I do know who bought it, and he didn't have it very long. Yeah. I saw he bought it, and then I sat there and thought about it for like a month, and I reached out. I was like, "You still have the thing?" He's like, "Nope, moved it." And I was like,
Yeah,
should have."
Yeah, it was one of those. I had a price on it, and he bought it. It's and I was like, "Man, you're really going to buy that?" And I had a price on it, and he bought it.
Yeah.
So
That's why I didn't put my Nagurski out at the National. Like I said, I spent 2 or 3 years looking for one and found one I really liked, and I was like, somebody wants to buy it and I can make a little bit of money, I'd probably sell it. And then I was like, I know that's what'll happen, and then I'll be back where I was. So still a little bit of a PC guy.
But you know what?
Sort of just answered my part of my next question. The first one, Colt, was the first part of that is what's the weirdest thing that has ever come across your booth? And the second part of that, I was going to ask, is there a card that you do regret not buying along the way?
The weirdest thing. That's a good question. I've seen some oddball stuff. Probably the weirdest one is one I still have. And I was looking through an auction house, and it was a primarily sports auction house, and they had a little bit of movie memorabilia, and they had the suit that Kevin Hart wore in the movie Soul Plane, which is just a ridiculous old hilarious movie. It was one of his first kind of his breakout role, and I was like, I've never bought movie memorabilia, but this is kind of cool. And I did a little bit of research and bid on it, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to win this thing. And then I got my invoice, and I was like, oh, I won something. I must have won one of the cards. And I started scrolling through, and I was like, oh, I bought a Kevin Hart movie used suit. So it didn't walk up to the booth, but that's probably the oddest thing I've ever bought.
How small is it?
That was the other thing. When I got it in and opened it up, it is small. It is not a big suit at all. And I was like, oh, man, he is little.
I have it right here.
I tagged him. I haven't got it out in a while. That's one of those things I may have to get out and take to the National just to show people that it's out there. Because I messaged him on Twitter or something and tagged him in it. And it's like, hey, would you want this? It's just an oddball thing. But there's been some crazy stuff walk up at shows. You just and you never know what somebody's got in their case or what they got in their pocket. I don't do a ton of hockey, and people you buy hockey, and I'm like 3 or 4 guys, Gretzky, Lemieux, Crosby, Ovechkin, and that's pretty much the end of my list. And there are a bunch of other hot guys that are valuable cards, but I just don't get too deep into the hockey waters. And I said that to a guy at a show in Raleigh, North Carolina, a year ago, and I was like, not unless it's one of these 3 guys. And he reaches in his pocket and he pulls out a Sidney Crosby, the Cup, True RPA, Beckett 9 with a 3-color patch. And I was like, oh, that is a hockey card. Yeah. I would be super interested in that. He knew what it was and knew what it was worth. And, I made him an offer on it. We weren't terribly far apart. And he's like, yeah, I don't think I want to sell it. But, just the guy walking around, you buy hockey cards. It's like, yeah, maybe. And then, I got a $50,000 one in my pocket. You just never know.
So before we let you go, we have the Great Lakes show next week, but then we are coming to Charleston, and I know you don't live that in Charleston, but you're in West Virginia. And what can people expect in Charleston in the state of West Virginia? What type of collectors are around that area?
I think I'm really excited for that show. I think it's a great show for I think 2 or 3 collector groups to intermingle. Everybody's new to everybody kind of thing. I think you'll bring a lot of your regular show people from the Ohio area, and West Virginia has a lot of serious collectors. There's a lot of smaller shows in the area, but they're really good smaller shows. So I think it'll be a really successful show, and I think you've done a great job of creating a room that's going to kind of build that thing we said, kind of show I want to go to. There's going to be, multiple dealers that set up at the National. I know of at least 3 off the top of my head. There probably going to be more by the time it gets here. So I mean, you're going to have some really big booths with big cards. You're going to have some of those medium tier people, and then I think you have the tables at like $100, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the perfect deal for a weekend warrior to be in a room with at the perfect time of year where aggressive buyers are trying to buy cards. And then you're going to have a ton of foot traffic because, like you said, you see the hobby spreading. I'll be at shows all over, and I'll see somebody walk by with like a West Virginia hat on, and I'll be like, did they go to Chicago from West Virginia? And I live there, and I've never seen this person before. And so I'm excited for that. I think you'll get a lot of those groups intermingle. And like I said, I think having it repeatedly, the first one's going to set up that success. And I think a lot of people are going to leave that show happy and be like, wow, that was way better than I thought it was going to be, from the selling perspective, from the buying perspective. Yeah. And I think most importantly, from the customer through the door perspective. You go to a show, you have a good time, get some cards, maybe sell a couple cards you were not in love with anymore. And you're like, that was a fun show. I want to go back to that show.
That is the plan. That's the plan with every show, but especially a new one in a new city. And, like we said, we kind of went into it blind, but we kind of didn't, because we know people in the West Virginia, and I know that the small shows, and I have talked to Nathan Freeman, and we've been able to go there, and we've been able to do a little bit of advertising at some of the mall shows. So we're really looking forward to seeing what could happen down there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really good. Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
We're excited for that. I was just going to say, because we're up against some time, Cole. We want to make sure before we let you go, where can everybody find you? Give me your socials.
Yeah, we're Instagram, Facebook, kardsharks, just like in the name right there. We're really active on eBay. So yeah, like you said, our show calendar stuff's on Instagram. So be sure to catch us at a show. Come meet us. Say, hey, what's up? And we try to be at all the good shows, which is why we're happy to be at some Greenie shows.
Well, listen, we appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you in a week, and then down the road at all the other ones. So, Cole, man, thank you very much for the time.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep. See you then.
All right. Our thanks to Colt Thompson, Card Sharks. Really cool stuff, Greenie. I always enjoy talking to people. And Brandon, thank you for your comment as well. I can't do this without Greenie. It's a tandem effort, and we can't do it without people watching. Greenie, I talk almost every day offline. So, but this doesn't work if people aren't watching. So we appreciate that. Greenie, we are up against it, but we did want to bring up one other really interesting thing that evolved here locally and a little bit nationally. But our friend McNeil over at Big Play has a really good habit of going viral for a lot of things he does. He's hilarious. But the most recent one were the Muni Lot Kid edition that really took off this week in the Cleveland area. I mean, these are hilarious. There's his take on himself, and of course everything that McNeil does, and in particular these, is a satirical parody, certainly not endorsed by any organization or group or team, but they're used humorously and transformatively. But these are really cool, and he's got a lot of fun ones that were put out.
And if people don't know, Jeremy, the Muni Lot is the big tailgate spot for Cleveland Browns football. So it is a happening place where everybody goes to tailgate before every game.
Yeah, and he's got sorry, I was rifling through these. They're pretty good. You got Ken Carman from 92.3 The Fan was awesome. He did one in tribute to voice of the Browns, Jimmy Donovan, who passed recently. But really cool stuff. And I have a feeling, Greenie, that's not the end of the story there for Unilock kids. So
Yeah.
as always, our thanks to Haley on the boards for all her work. Great job on the crunch video and driving the train here. Thanks to Colt Thompson from Kardsharks. Make sure you check him out at the live shows and online. And of course, Joe Wysmierski on Phoenix Card Shop for his insight. And of course, thanks to everybody who watches week over week and allows us to do this. Greenie, most of all, thanks to you. May the cards forever be in your favor.
Yeah, and mine and yours too. Have a good night, everybody.